Okay, if you're a gardener, you definitely know the feeling. A hard freeze is in the forecast, and suddenly you're scrambling to save your plants. But what if I told you that most of the common methods are based on a huge misunderstanding? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the real science of protecting your plants from the cold and why so many of us get it wrong. And this just says it all, doesn't it? This is a real review from a gardener who bought those plant covers you see everywhere. It perfectly captures that feeling of frustration. You do everything you think you're supposed to do, you cover your plants, and they die anyway. It's such a common story, and it almost always comes down to one simple, crucial mistake in our thinking. So, what is going wrong here? Why do these covers that are literally sold to protect plants fail so often? It's usually not the product's fault. It's all about how we're using them. And that's the big secret we're going to unpack today. And that brings us right to it, the aha moment. There is one single mistake that pretty much everyone makes, and once you understand this, it's going to completely change how you deal with cold weather in the garden. Okay, think about it like this. Why does a jacket keep you warm? It's because you are warm-blooded. You're like a little furnace constantly generating your own heat. The jacket just traps that heat close to your body. But plants, they don't do that. They don't generate any internal heat at all. They rely completely on the sun and the air around them. So when you just throw a blanket over a plant, you're not trapping any warmth because there's no warmth to trap in the first place. So here's the bottom line. A standard plant cover is really just a frost blocker. And look, it works great for a light frost, where your main goal is just stopping those damaging ice crystals from forming right on the leaves. But when you get a hard freeze, when the air itself gets dangerously cold, that cover offers pretty much zero insulation. The cold just goes right through it. All right, so now that we get the science, let's build a real strategy. First up, the winter vegetable garden. These plants are pretty tough, but they're not invincible, and there's a really simple, elegant way to help them not just survive, but actually thrive. For our hardy winter vegetables, think about your lettuces, your kale, all those brassicas. The real enemy isn't just the cold air, it's the frost itself crystallizing on the leaves. It's kind of fascinating. These plants are actually more freeze-tolerant than they are frost-tolerant. So if we can just keep that hard frost off of them, they can handle way lower temperatures than you'd think. And this is how you do it. The absolute best method is a simple, low-tunnel hoop house. You just create this little structure using cheap PVC pipes bent into hoops over your garden bed. Then you drape a special kind of fabric over it and clip it down. The really important part here is that the cover never actually touches the plants. So, what's the magic here? It's all about using that breathable agricultural fabric, not plastic. This stuff stops the frost, but it still lets light and rain get through to your plants. And, crucially, on those surprisingly sunny winter days, it allows heat to escape so your crops don't overheat and bolt. You can basically set the system up and just leave it for months. It's a game changer. But okay, that's for the tough veggies. What about the really sensitive plants? The citrus trees, the avocados, the kind of stuff that really has no business trying to survive a hard freeze? Well, for that, we need a more active strategy. For these trees, we have to think a little more like engineers. We've got 3 main tools in our toolkit, and you can use them alone or for maximum power, combine them. It's all about where you plant, adding an active source of heat, and using passive heat storage. The simplest method by far is just to use your own house. A south-facing wall gets baked by the sun all day long, and it soaks up all that energy. Then, through the night, it radiates that heat back out. This can create a little microclimate that's several degrees warmer than the rest of your yard. Often, that's all you need to get through those first few frosts. Now for an active solution, and you're gonna love this one. Remember those old-school big bulb Christmas lights? They are perfect for this, but, and this is so important, they have to be incandescent, not the new LEDs. LEDs are designed to be super efficient, which means they produce almost no heat. That's great for your electric bill, but totally useless for your plants. Those old incandescent bulbs, though, they're basically just a string of tiny little heaters. And get this, a single string of those classic C9 bulbs can produce 175 watts of heat. That is a serious amount of warmth, especially when you wrap it through the branches of a tree, protecting its core from the inside out. But what happens if the power goes out during an ice storm? Well, this is where passive thermal mass is your best friend. Get some large, dark-colored barrels, fill them with water, and place them near your tree. They'll soak up a massive amount of solar heat during the day. Then, at night, they slowly radiate that heat back out, acting like a little space heater that needs no electricity at all. And this, right here, is the winning formula. You combine one of these heat sources, either the lights or the water barrels, with a cover. The heat source provides the warmth, and the cover traps that warmth right where you need it. This is how you can get a lemon tree through a 14-degree night. It really works. All right, let's put this all together into a simple guide you can actually use. This is your playbook for whatever winter decides to throw at you. This really breaks it down. For a light frost where the temperature just dips to around freezing, a simple cover is usually fine for both your veggies and your trees. But when a hard freeze is coming, we're talking 28 degrees Fahrenheit or even colder, you have to change your strategy. Your vegetables need that full hoop house with the fabric cover. And your sensitive trees, they need the 1-2 punch, a heat source and a cover to trap all that precious warmth. So, the next time you see that frost symbol in the weather forecast, just ask yourself this one question. Because knowing the difference between just covering a plant and actually protecting it, well, that's what separates a heartbroken gardener from a successful one. It isn't about buying more stuff, it's about understanding a little bit of simple science.